While we at The Richest work tirelessly to bring you tons of amazing videos, we've heard that some employees may not be so fastidious. In fact, we're going to show you evidence of 10 people who were caught distracted on the job. Clearly, these people forgot the first rule of slacking off at work. Don't get caught. Not that we know anything about that. We've also included an extra trivia fact somewhere in the video. The catch is that you have to guess before we tell you the answer at the end. We'll announce the question somewhere in this video. Before you get too distracted by our amazing video, go ahead and click that subscribe button. You might still be late for work, but you'll never be late when it comes to getting the latest videos from The Richest. The right envelope, please. While we love seeing our favorite celebrities on the silver screen, most of us don't have the opportunity to see them in person. We can only imagine that we'd immediately turn into bumbling fools as a result of being so completely starstruck. The Oscars is a huge event teeming with all of the biggest stars and celebrities, so it's understandable that a non-celeb could feel a bit overwhelmed when in the presence of such beauty and talent. At the recent 2017 Oscars, there was a colossal mix-up when presenter Warren Beatty mistakenly announced La La Land over the actual winner Moonlight in the Best Picture category. But it turns out Beatty was set up for failure by PricewaterhouseCoopers accountant Brian Cullinan, who handed him the wrong envelope. While Cullinan initially claimed that he had merely grabbed the wrong envelope, photos soon surfaced of him mixing up the two envelopes while being distracted by his cell phone. What was he doing that caused him to make such a huge mistake? Why, tweeting pictures of actress Emma Stone, of course. The tweet was later deleted, but the evidence against Cullinan was overwhelming. His company apologized profusely and promised that Cullinan will be relegated to merely reading live Oscar tweets in the future. Making a splash. It's a videographer's job to get the perfect footage, but one cameraman seemed a little too focused on cleavage to do his job properly. The show Splash featured celebrity contestants who perform a weekly dive in front of a panel of judges and a live audience. The celebrities are coached by an athlete as they face a weekly elimination. The Spanish version of Splash is called Mira Quien Salta, which translates to Look Who Jumps. On a recent episode, actress Patricia Martinez performed a spectacular jump that earned her high scores from the judges. After a slight initial wobble on the diving board, she managed to accomplish a remarkable dive. One cameraman in particular seemed to appreciate her performance. Instead of focusing on Martinez's charming smile or the reaction of the judges, he seemed to get distracted by some of Martinez's assets that did not relate to her diving. After a bit of an awkward zoom onto the front of her skin-tight swimsuit, the cameraman seems to catch himself and the show resumes its regular style of filming. Someone should have told him that he was there to film people diving and not performing the breaststroke. Pokémon Go back to work. When Pokémon Go came out, all of the world's children and inner children rejoiced. It was a dream come true for many of us, and we couldn't wait to get out there and catch them all. Unfortunately, for some people, that Pokémon Zell caught up with them when it began interfering with their work life. The game inspired many people to get out and get active in numbers that Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign would envy. However, not everyone could contain their game playing to off-the-clock hours. There are many cases of employees being reprimanded for being caught playing Pokémon Go on the clock at work. Being told to pack up your Pokeballs and go to HR is pretty embarrassing, especially as an adult. While we all dreamed of becoming Pokémon trainers, it's not a viable career option, so don't quit or get fired from your day job. Many companies were forced to issue warnings regarding playing the game on company time. Famous defense company Boeing even sent out a memo banning employees from playing the game at work due to a near miss for a user getting hurt while playing the game. So please try to limit your Pokémon catching activities for your leisure hours. Eating while driving. Most of us know the pain of having to work through our lunch break, trying to scarf down some food while we type without spilling any on the keyboard. However, if your job involves something other than sitting in front of a computer, eating while working can be a much more dangerous gamble. And if you happen to be at the wheel of an approximately 30,000-pound vehicle filled with human beings with their fragile and easily squished bodies, eating at work is downright reprehensible. In 2013, a Chicago public bus driver was caught with one hand on the wheel and the other on a spoon. Out of all foods, this driver decided to treat himself with an ice cream sundae while driving the bus. What a messy, complicated food to eat while driving. What's next, a piping hot plate of nachos? Passengers became concerned when they realized the bus was swerving all over the road. One female passenger captured video footage of the driver driving while under the influence of hot fudge. Unfortunately, the Chicago Transit Authority's reaction was a standard statement about safety being their priority. So next time you're about to get on a city bus, make sure the driver isn't distracted by checking to see if their breath smells like fudge ripple. Happy New Heist! New Year's Eve in Times Square is a chaotic time to say the least. The streets are packed with people gathered around to see the iconic ball drop, and champagne-soaked revelers are known to get a little bit rowdy during this time. So while it's understandable that local law enforcement was distracted during this time, the fact remains that their focus on the New Year's pandemonium was the perfect opportunity for a trio of thieves. These burglars timed and planned their heist perfectly, breaking into Greg Ruth, a commercial jewelry store on West 36th Street at 12:01 a.m. on New Year's Day. With all the local police distracted by the crowd in Times Square, the thieves managed to get away with $6 million worth of gems, including rare pink and yellow diamonds. They seemed to have cased the property well in advance as they moved purposefully and efficiently. While they broke some small locks, it seems that they may have actually known some of the safe combinations which made their job a lot easier. Although we have security footage of the three burglars, as of right now, they remain at large. Answering our trivia question is an important part of doing your job as our viewer. According to a 2015 Career Builder survey, what percentage of employers block certain internet sites in order to prevent their employees from being distracted? Keep watching and we'll reveal the answer at the end of the video. Zookeeper. Dwight Schrute once advised us to never turn our backs on bears, men we've wronged, or the dominant turkey during mating season. Zookeeper Eduardo Serio would have done well to remember this advice, except that substituting bears for leopards would be more appropriate in his case. While we are sure we would be on high alert if we were dropped into an area full of large predatory cats, Serio is used to being in such situations. He has dedicated his life to caring for and bonding with these animals at the Black Jaguar White Tiger Sanctuary in California. But he made a mistake one day that could have easily proved fatal. While in an enclosure full of large cats, Serio allowed himself to become distracted by one particularly adorable white lion. Sensing a rare moment of weakness, one leopard named Dharma got into position and prepared to pounce on her unaware keeper. However, Aslan the lion was having none of this, and when Dharma leapt toward Serio, Aslan knocked her out of the way. It's unsure whether Dharma was just trying to play with Serio, but even if she was, she would surely have done a lot of damage had she connected with him. Muscle Bound. James Lewis, better known as Flex, is a Welsh bodybuilder currently living in Florida. With many bodybuilding competition wins on his record, he says that his inspiration is none other than classic bodybuilder, actor, and twice elected governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He placed first in the 2011 British Grand Prix in the men's 202 category. And yes, there is a bodybuilding Grand Prix, not to be confused with the one involving race cars. One look at this guy and you couldn't exactly picture him cramming into the confined space of a race car. After his win, he and his wife Sheena Lewis were interviewed by reporter Tracy Thompson. Although, as far as Thompson seemed to be concerned, there was nobody there but her and Flex. During the interview, Thompson seems incredibly distracted by Flex's physique in an almost cartoonish, schoolgirlish manner. You'd think she would show a little more discretion, especially considering his very tall and muscular wife is standing right next to her. Sure, maybe she's just really enamored with the sport of bodybuilding, but she looks incredibly Twitter-pated at Flex specifically. She doesn't seem to be able to contain her distraction and behaves this way for the entire interview. Bug in her throat. While the last reporter we saw got majorly distracted by a massive muscle, 24-year-old Katya Leak did her best to persevere through an incredibly distracting situation. She was working for Kansas news station KSNT at the time of this video and was sent to the U.S. Army base Fort Riley. There, she was to cover Victory Week and get footage of the soldiers performing live cover drills and demonstrating their various weaponry. However, there were no weapons available that could help leak, except maybe a bug zapper. The reporter soon found herself under siege from a vicious air assault perpetrated by cicadas. These bugs clearly didn't have any journalistic integrity, as they flew all over Leak while she tried to speak. We see her jumping and swatting at the bugs, all the while trying to continue to report on her surroundings. She said she got through all the distraction by giving herself constant pep talks inside of her head. She tries to maintain her composure but briefly loses her cool when a cicada lands right on her face, causing her to let out a shriek. While she's certainly guilty of being distracted at work, we can't really say we blame her for this one. Distracted driver. One warm summer day, Amber Farnsworth had just finished up a day of shopping with her 4-year-old son and needed a cab ride home. She called Liberty Yellow Cab, a taxi service she'd used many times before, to request a driver. She was picked up by driver Balde Mamadou and immediately noticed that something was wrong. Instead of keeping his eyes on the road and his hands at 10 and 2, Mamadou seemed very intent on something out of Farnsworth's line of sight. Within moments, it was clear to her that Mamadou was watching something on a tablet, as she could hear the dialogue from the show. She began taping Mamadou, who paid her no more attention than he did to the road. He was completely engrossed in his program while he was supposed to be transporting a mother and her young son. Fortunately, Bill Yunke, the president of the cab company, took her concerns seriously, especially once he reviewed the video evidence. While Mamadou originally tried to claim he was merely looking at his GPS, he soon confessed. As punishment, the distracted cab driver will now have to ride with a supervisor in his car and will have a camera installed in his vehicle. Hopefully no one is watching that security camera footage while driving. Everything under the sun. We all love hearing stories of the wacky things people get caught doing while on the clock. In a 2015 survey, CareerBuilder asked 2,175 hiring and human resource managers across various industries what was the strangest thing they'd caught an employee doing at work. The respondents felt that these distracting activities compromise the quality of work and serve to distract and demoralize other employees who may have to pick up the slack for these slackers. One employer found their employee taking a sponge bath in the bathroom sink. Well, at least it wasn't in the communal kitchen sink. That's worse than microwaving leftover seafood. Some employees limited their distractions to their desks and were caught researching non-work-related topics on their computers. These included scouring the web for everything from cute kittens to mail-order brides. You definitely don't want to mix up those two things. Maybe they were looking up cute kittens in order to print out pictures of animals, label them with their fellow employees' names, and then hang them around their office. And yes, that's what one employee on the list actually did. While the survey revealed plenty of wacky office hijinks, it sadly didn't answer the question we all had: why? It's time for the answer to our trivia question. Earlier, we asked you to guess what percentage of employers block certain websites in order to reduce work distractions. The answer is 33%, according to a 2015 CareerBuilder survey. Thanks for watching our video, and we're glad you had the attention span to make it to the end. If you've got some attention left, check out some other great videos from The Riches. While we may be a great way to waste time at work, we encourage you to watch responsibly. See you next time!